Good morning, and welcome to our Sunday gathering at First Center for Spiritual Living. We're so happy to have you all on the call with us today. It's a very beautiful day at the center, and it's wet in New York, but we are all good and happy and delighted to be here today. Like it's our norm, we want to start with our meditation, and we'll be back after 15 minutes at 11 a.m. for the lesson. Join us as we contemplate. Thank you.
This meditation was designed to take you on a journey through your body to let you know that you are safe. It's safe to change, and your body knows how to heal. To begin, close your eyes. Take a deep breath and quiet the chatter of your mind. Take another deep breath and tune into your body. As you breathe, breathe love into your body and let it surround you. Imagine yourself looking into your eyes with love. And now imagine having a conversation with yourself. Just allow yourself to let go and say, I am willing to let go. I release all tension. I release all fear. I release all anger. I release all guilt. I release all sadness and let go of old limitations. I let it go, and I am at peace. I am at peace with myself and the process of life. I am safe. My body is a glorious place to live. I rejoice that I have chosen this particular body because it is perfect for me in this lifetime. It is the perfect size, shape, and color. It serves me so well. I marvel at the miracle that is my body. I choose the healing thoughts that create and maintain my healthy body and make me feel even better. I cooperate with my body's nutritional needs and feed my body delicious healing foods. I drink clean, clear water and allow it to flow through my body, washing away all impurities. I deserve to be healed, and my healthy cells grow stronger every day. I am safe. My body knows how to heal itself, and I trust life to support my healing in every way. When I need support, I attract the right people to help me heal. Every hand that touches my body is a healing hand, including mine. Every day and in every way, I am growing healthier and healthier. I love and appreciate my beautiful body.
My digestion starts with my mouth. I love my mouth. I nourish myself by taking in new ideas. I prepare new concepts and healthy foods for digestion and assimilation. I learn to choose new foods that are delicious and supportive of my body. I have a great taste for life and for healthy food. I choose to eat slowly, to savor my food, and chew well so that I can digest with ease. This is how much I love my body. I love and appreciate my beautiful mouth. I love my stomach. It is with joy that I digest the experiences of life and the healthy, delicious food I eat. Life agrees with me, and I choose nourishing foods that agree with my body. I easily assimilate the food I eat at every meal. I choose the thoughts and the food that glorify my being. I trust life to feed me that which I need. I am good enough as I am, and I am worth taking the time to digest my food. I assimilate this thought, and I make it true for me. I love and appreciate my beautiful stomach. I love my liver. I let go of everything I no longer need, and I joyfully release all irritation, criticism, and condemnation. My liver knows how to cleanse and heal my body. Everything in my life is in divine right order. Everything that happens is for my highest good and greatest joy. I find love everywhere in my life. I love and appreciate my beautiful liver. I love my intestines. I am an open channel for good to flow in and through me. Freely, generously, and joyfully. I create new habits of choosing foods that assimilate well in my body, keeping me energized, healthy, nourished, and strong. I willfully release all thoughts and things that clutter and clog. All is normal, harmonious, and perfect in my life. I live only in the ever-present now. I choose the thoughts that keep me open and receptive to the flow of life. I have perfect intake, assimilation, and elimination. I love and appreciate my beautiful intestines.
I choose the best food for my body, and I bless this food with love. I love selecting foods that are nutritious and delicious. Planning healthy meals is a joy, and I can easily make anything taste good. My body loves the way I choose the perfect foods for myself. Meal times are happy times, and my body heals and strengthens with every bite I take. I am one with life, and life loves me and supports me. Therefore, I claim for myself perfect, vibrant health at all times. My body knows how to be healthy, and I cooperate by feeding it healthy foods and beverages, and exercising in ways that are enjoyable to me. I listen with love to the thoughts that I think about my health. I open myself to the wisdom within, knowing that life will bring me everything I need. Everything I need to know to create new healthy habits. I trust my body to guide me, knowing that whatever I need comes to me in the perfect time, space, and sequence. The world I live in is safe. It is full of delicious, healthy options that I can choose to create new habits for my health. I choose to love myself with each thought I think and with every bite I eat.
How so good it is to be together once again. Good morning and welcome to our Sunday gathering. Good morning, and it's so good to see all of you smiling faces. It's a beautiful day today at First Center for Spiritual Living. It's wet and full of blessings from the universe. I would like to start this day with an affirmative prayer. And I'd like to call on Reverend Robert to please open us up with an affirmative prayer. Hello, Reverend Robert. Thank you.
Hello on this beautiful Sunday. How is everybody?
We're doing well.
Good. So let's move deep within ourselves, within our souls after that beautiful meditation. Feel the energy, feel the light, feel the divinity within, the divine oneness of spirit. We are that oneness. Operating out of that one mind, we celebrate today in the divinity of each one's spiritual magnificence that empowers each of us to move forward, onward, and upward. And today's lesson is that onward and forward movement as we are open and receptive to hear the word, to hear the good, to see the good, to feel the good, to feel that divinity within us, awakened by means of today's lesson. So we give great thanks, knowing that the Spirit of God, the Spirit of oneness, that divine energy flows through every atom, cell, and tissue of our being, awakening the one life, the one presence that is indwelling within each and every one of us. And we give thanks as we move forward in this hour together, in this lesson together, supporting one another, strengthening one another, strengthening our speaker, Dr. Greg, to speak freely, confidently, knowing that it is an empowerment talk that each of us accepts as the truth unfolding for each of us as we feel that intelligence operating out of the one mind that is the mind of each one here. So we give great thanks. We celebrate and affirm this greatness within us as I release this word into the creative intelligence of the universe that demonstrates nothing but greatness, goodness, and wholeness for each and every one of us. And for this, I give thanks, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much. I just feel I should just give 1 minute for this prayer to permeate my being, every part of my being. Thank you, Reverend Robert. Thank you so much. I'm seeing a lot of people walking in. Please, what's your name again? Please remind me. Jumel. I have Jumel here. I have Celia just walked in. Hello, Celia. Good to see you. And it's a beautiful day. And like I said, the rain is coming up with a lot of blessings. I like to just remind us that, Greg's talk is titled The Four Agreements, and we'll invite him shortly for the lesson. And this afternoon for our community time, we'll have Shane, who will be talking about family constellations. So if you haven't invited your friends and family, please invite them. And we expect to have a number of people tuning in from Australia today. Okay, we just watched a small video clip before we invite Dr. Greg for the lesson. Thank you.
Ernest Holmes, there's power for good in the universe greater than you, of which you're a part. So he's saying you're one with that power, and you can use that power. Well, gratitude is one of the ways. I was told years ago it is a causative agent. Whatever it is that you're spinning about anything that's negative, you have the ability to see it differently. You have the ability to tell yourself a different story, because certainly you're telling yourself a story anyway. How's that story working out of lack and limitation and nobody cares and nobody loves me and poor me and ain't it awful? How does that work out? With the tool of reframing, you can challenge yourself to see whatever the heck it is you're seeing from a different vantage point. If Bill Tolliver were alive, one of my teachers, he said, we're in the business of changing the lesser ideas that we hold on to for the greater. So our business, our practice is to change the lesser ideas that we're harboring, the old tapes, the nonsense, the self-imposed nonsense that Alan Cohen would describe as a sin. We're in the business of changing that type of thinking, the lesser into the greater. So as we reframe, we learn to reframe, we understand this is a really important tool for us to learn, to change the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave. And as we do that, we're going to bring forth happiness and gratitude. Or simply saying to herself, this is a reframing also, good will come of this. The thing is, we want to learn that tool of reframing whatever it is that we're putting a spin on that's making us feel bad, whatever it is that we're saying that's not life-giving. If you're experiencing rejection in your life in any way from a boss or a loved one, or you're just dealing with, the tough things of life, you have an important tool in that you can reframe anything. I am not the victim of the world I see. Never. You can let go and you can say to yourself, I am not a victim of the world I see. I can reframe this. I can see this. I can even thank that person who's bringing me all these wonderful gifts of rejection and all the stuff that he or she is bringing. And I can thank them for showing me some aspect of myself that would lead me to a place of knowing I deserve much better. One thing we know is we live in an abundant universe. And when we think that we need something, some job, some person so desperately, that's a big fib that we're telling ourselves. So as we let go and as we know the truth that we're supplied and supported, we're opening up doors for greater good. Every single thing that's an obstacle when properly approached becomes a stepping stone to something wonderful. The problems in my life, properly understood, are not really problems. Every one of them are stepping stones. Whatever the heck that's going on within you, I want you always to remember, whatever your experience, whatever you're creating in your world with people, you're part of it. You want to say to yourself, it's only a thought I'm having. And a thought can always be changed. So you have that power to ask ourselves quietly, deeply, more often, what is the good in this situation? What is the good in this situation for me? Challenge yourself, reframe it so you can see that there's a gift. The gift might be simply, I deserve much better. The gift might be, let's be resolved to find the gift in every one of these situations, would be my suggestion for today. Let's be completely resolved to find the gifts, because every encounter is a holy encounter. And even when it doesn't seem holy, there is a gift in it for you. So please, as you practice this teaching, don't make your problems about other people. Understand that whatever is happening in life is happening for you. If you can reframe your experience so you can see it that way, oh, the places you will go. You can't lose with this stuff. Build on always the good that you have and the gratitude you can express. There is good. You live, you move, and you have your being in this good. You are one with good. So why go into those stories that would suggest you're anything less than wonderful? Build on the good that's there, the good that's certain, the truth of who you are. Whole, complete, and wonderful. Love, as I said recently, is all around, and so is goodness. Your challenge is to find that good and see that good. That's where gratitude comes in.
Yeah, thank you. And you're welcome once again to First Center for Spiritual Living, and we are ready to shoot. Without wasting much time, I'd like to invite Dr. Greg for the lesson. And we have a number of people here. And I'm feeling like things are coming back. And Celia is here, Jamel is here, Chris is here, Anthony is here, and Dr. Greg is here. It's here, Dr. Greg. Over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm scoping out the people in the audience. It's something new. Some new faces, some old. And I want to welcome you all to come back in person as soon as you can. I also want to, first of all, welcome the faces I can see on YouTube and those that I can't, because I know there's names there, and the people who are watching on YouTube, Instagram Live, Facebook. For all of you, I'm thrilled you're here, and I'm thrilled our audience is growing. I'd like to invite you to ask to be a part of our Zoom call. Ask Jimmy for whatever the code is to get in, and send him your info. I don't know what he needs, email or your phone number or something, and we'll get you in, because after we're done with our lessons, we always have a time where we interact with each other, and there's many other things that go on outside of the Zoom call. Today, I wanted to have a little bit of a discussion on a book called The Four Agreements. And this is a book that I've read, I've reread, I've been to classes about it, I've taught classes about it, and it's one of those books that's a go-to, go-back-to book. I have a few. I have half a dozen or more that I refer to, and that's one of them. I've let the wisdom from it inform me. I spent some hours with it this past week, just collecting my thoughts. I didn't read the entire thing again, but I spent many hours with it. And as I did, a lot of new ideas came forward. And that reminds me a little bit, if you ever take the time to study and read the textbook, which I don't recommend anybody read from cover to cover, but spend time with it, because wherever you read it, whenever you read it, you're going to come back and you're going to say, oh my God, I've never seen this before. And the truth of it is you're in a different place, so you're going to be experiencing it in a different way. So that's pretty much how I experienced the Four Agreements as I've gone through it again, as many times as I've been through it, because I'm always in a different place. And I know that I've grown, and I know I will continue to grow, and that's what we do. And as I was contemplating what I wanted to say about this book, there's so much you can say about this book, and it's one of these books that, you can have a class on it. I've had classes on it before, because you can just take pieces of it and talk about it for a couple hours at a time. So I had to think, well, what can I say? And it reminded me this week, I went over the attitudinal healing principles, the 12 principles. And I did a run through. I think I did a pretty good intro. But there's so much within each of those principles that I feel like I'm robbing you of great stuff. And I have to get over that and stop criticizing myself. It's just my pleasure to introduce it. It's what you do with it that's always going to make the difference. Each of those 12 principles could be a 2-hour lesson in and of themselves. And the same is true with today's book. I know some of you read books like this, and some of you, like I, savor them, and they realize what they have with those books, right? And then you'll go back to the material again and again. And I've done that with You Can Heal Your Life, the book by Louise Hay. I've done that with Emerson's essays. I've spent years with them, The Course in Miracles, and many other books that are like this. I mean, there's not hundreds, but there's probably 6 to 8 or something like that. When I was putting my notes together yesterday, I was reminded just out of the blue of a song, lyrics to a song by Paul Simon. And they ran through my mind, and I thought, yeah, this is kind of like the Four Agreements. Don Miguel was saying as much in the book. The author would suggest that we as people are in really tough shape. If you look at the world and you look at the globe, and you look at the health of the world and the mental health of the world, and geez, what all the people are saying and thinking globally, and if you just consider where we're at as people in civilization, human information is doubling, I think every day and a half. We're so technically moving forward, warp speed. It's scary. It's really wonderful in some ways. And yet, most people on the globe are not awake. Most people are just like, they're plugged in on their things, right? They're really got their technology down, and you see all these people in restaurants, they're sitting together, couples, and they're chatting on their phones, God knows to whom, but they're not connecting with one another. And you see all the people in the world that are just busy, and they're talking, and they're talking, but who the hell's listening is the question. And what are they talking about? And what does this have to do with the Four Agreements? And so all this knowledge and technology is moving forward like crazy, right? Crazy every other day. Human knowledge is doubling. Think about that. It used to be that would happen every 50 years, every 12 years. Now it's like every day. And I realize, as I tell you, most people are not awake. And as I tell you that you are so gifted to have this teaching, I really mean it. I don't know if you know how much I mean it, because the masses don't have a clue. They're just living in reaction everywhere. Reacting. Who's thinking a new thought anywhere? Everybody's reacting to everything. But Paul Simon, and this book also, say it in a different way, that Paul Simon song, Hello Darkness, my old friend, from the sounds of silence, I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision that's softly creeping within me left its seeds while I was sleeping. And it's a vision that was planted in my brain, and it still remains within the sounds of silence. In restless dreams, I walked alone, right, beneath the halo of a street lamp, when my eyes were stabbed with a flash of neon light that touched the sounds of silence. In the naked light, I saw 10,000 people speaking without listening. This is happening now. People are writing songs. They're talking to voices that will never hear them. People don't have their voices. No one dares to speak. Everybody's living in conditioned thought. No one dared disturb that sound of silence. There's too few that are awake. Fools, said I, you do not know. The silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon gods they made. And in the Toltec tradition of Don Miguel Ruiz, there is the mitote, there's the Maya, there's a world of illusion where the millions and millions and billions of people are just talking. And there's a noise and a hum that circulates the globe. And there's no real connection. It's just a bunch of conversation. People aren't living from their God nature. They're just reacting and reacting and reacting. And we have this great teaching that we teach every week. You have within you this tremendous power, this connection with God's source. You don't know it, most of you, right? And this is the point Don Miguel Ruiz is making in the book. It's the reason most people don't have a clue what they want. They don't have a clue what their purpose is. They're living their lives and life is over. There's a banquet of life that we talk about every week, and most people are not living from the fullness, the opportunity of everything that's here. They don't agree with each other because there's parts of their mind that want one thing and there's parts of their mind that want exactly the opposite. As I was considering the lyrics, the song kept coming through as I was preparing the lesson. That poem in so many ways introduces and explains the core of the four agreements. It explains the course of miracles, it explains attitudinal healing, and the passion that drove Ernest Holmes to write The Science of Mind. All these guys, all these women, Louise, Harte, they all had the vision that Don Miguel has in this book. Ralph Waldo Emerson most definitely saw it. Each of them were alive in awareness, and they knew humankind seemed to be very stuck, and each were passionate about reaching out to offer all that they had to free us. Because otherwise, the masses are out there doing what the masses do. And see, the thing is, those of us who are in the teaching, we think that we don't do that, but we do also. So let me simplify some of this, help you connect some of the dots, because they're all, for me, like it's just connecting the past 24 hours. It was my privilege to get reacquainted with the material, though, because it caused me to light up, make all the connections and cross connections. I won't say I had an epiphany, because I have these moments of light where I glimpse things like the whole picture here and there. And it's always the same information when it happens. It's just explained to me in a different way. It's truth, and it will fill you up with passion and optimism. I'm reminded by the author, Miguel Ruiz, that what most people's lives are like. Most people are living in survival. What does that mean? Think about it. No matter what country, no matter what small town, no matter what street, all over the world, most people aren't thinking expansive ideas like what we're talking about here. Most people are trying to figure out how to feed their family, how to get through the day without fighting with their husband or wife. They're worried, they're fearful of the future, they're fearful of what these countries and these governments are going to do. Most people struggle much more than we, and most people don't have the time to do this kind of thinking at all. And there's very little communication that goes on. Sadly, there's a lot of noise. Think of it like a humming from town to town and community to community and all over the world. And this is what Don Miguel is saying. He said, you've had many conversations and many agreements throughout your life. You've made agreements with other people. You've made agreements with God, with society, your wife, your boyfriends, your parents. You've made agreements with your partners. You've made every kind of agreement. And you've been making them since you came onto the planet. But the most important agreements and conversations are the ones that you are having and have had with yourself. Throughout your life, you've been in conversation, you've formed opinions and agreements, and as we go forward, many of them will be looked at. A good number of these agreements, hopefully, you'll have the courage to release. Most of the agreements, the old ideas, the beliefs that you have are fear-based. This is why every Thursday in class I ask a single question. It's an important question because I'm asking you to be mindful, and I ask, what has it been like being you? I'm inviting you to be mindful for a moment every Thursday, to recall what you have been thinking and what your agreements have been and how they make you feel. See, if you're in a disconnect on a Thursday night, you can know it, you can understand that you have had an agreement and you're not living up to it. A lot of these ideas and agreements need to be released. But I'm getting ahead of myself just a little bit. All of the conversations and agreements that you have made essentially have formed your personality. This is what you think you are, okay? What you believe, what you think you can do, you can't do, what you think is real or possible, impossible. Most people, as I've said in previous lessons, have an undercurrent of negativity. Most people don't live as religious scientists with positive expectancy. People are completely out of touch, says the author. Out of touch, and most of the world is spinning, and out of control and in reaction. There's a lot of noise and a lot of humming. Just think the whole universe is humming. Busyness, people, places, and things, bowing to material gods, bowing to someone else who might have the answer for them, not knowing that everything they need is within. Most people simply don't have the courage to change and break those agreements. If you want to live a life of joy and fulfillment, you will need the courage to break the fearful agreements that you've maintained throughout most of your life. The kingdom, we always say, is at hand. The spiritual bank account that Holmes talked about has an unlimited amount for you, and it has your name on it. You'll need to learn how to accept that good and to withdraw. You need to learn how to neutralize your agreements, the agreements that have held you back all through your life, and stop talking and reacting and talking and reacting. There is a planetary dream, Miguel says, that we all partake in, and within it are infinite other dreams. We have the agreements of our own personal life, our beliefs, our programming that have been passed down through our parents and through our group of people, all of them, and we bought into them. How can we change all of that, right? How can we change our life when we've witnessed and been part of so much self-sabotage? Every one of us have been part of a lot of self-sabotage and pain. How can we change all of that? We definitely, most of us, have been creating our life to work against us. That's a concept that we use in the Q process. We have been creating our life to work against us for the most part, except for some of you who come into this teaching and really with the intent to change and to do the spiritual work. There is power for good, absolutely, Ernest Holmes says. But we misuse the power. And it has a majority of the world's population living in darkness. You live in darkness too when you're not connected. You need a very strong desire and a strong will in order to adopt the 4 agreements. As you learn to live your life with these agreements, the transformation that's possible is amazing. This is very much in alignment with what we teach here every single week. You will see the drama of hell that is most people's life disappear right before your eyes. Instead of living a dream of disconnect and of hell and disharmony, you will be creating a new dream. See, there's a lot of talking and there's very little listening. I notice it all the time. I notice at the office sometimes I'm talking to somebody and the person is like busily on their texting on the phone. They're not listening to me, but they're talking. People, for the most part, are not in touch with their purpose, and what they communicate falls on deaf ears. I walked by restaurants again, and I see couples sitting together, spending $50, $60 for dinner, and they're texting other people on the phone. And I just shake my head and I think, this is unbelievable. This is not an isolated thing. I see it there, I see it in the office. There are neon gods that people are bowing to, looking up, no matter if the gods happen to be right here on Madison Avenue, where people are creating all kinds of products for you that you will soon think you need, or you're looking for redemption that's being sold in a mega church somewhere. Most of the world is not living with a sense of connection, personal connection to source, much less to one another. The author, Miguel Ruiz, introduces the first agreement, which is commonly misunderstood. I misunderstood it years ago myself. Be impeccable with your word. I thought that simply means I need to do what I say, right? That's what you think when you think of impeccability, but that's not what he means. Your first thought might be, oh yes, I do what I say most of the time. I'm honest with my word, but that's not what he's talking about. What he's communicating, what he's really communicating is the idea of being impeccable with our word, be impeccable by using our thoughts and our energy and our voice and our heart with great reverence and purpose. Again, our energy, our thoughts, our words with great reverence and purpose. See, he had this idea that, from their tradition, that when you speak, your word is your wand. And when you speak anything, you are creating. So think of the whole world spinning in reaction. And here you are, you want to slow it way, way, way down, because as you open up your mouth and your heart and your mind, it's as though God speaks. Would God be saying any of this nonsense and be busy texting on his phone when another God is talking to him straight in your face? We've really lost our way, Miguel would say. The suggestion is, if you're using your spiritual power when you speak and when you think, whatever comes out of you, from your thoughts, your spoken words are creating worlds of experience that are both helpful and more often they're hurtful, because often what we say is totally reactive. Your words have power. Where have we heard that before? Let me paraphrase. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds really simple, but there's more to it. To be impeccable and speak without error, speak without sin. In this program, will help you understand the first agreement. Everything you say, feel, or believe that goes against yourself is, from this perspective, a sin. I'll say it again. Everything that you say, feel, or believe, think of all the stuff that comes out of your mouth that goes against yourself, is a sin. You go against yourself when you judge anyone. You go against yourself when you're critical of people and yourself. You judge, you blame, and you blame. You have been given a wand that can be a wand or it can be a sword. It can bring life or it can cut people down. You have tremendous power to heal or to hurt. Being impeccable is not going against yourself or certainly going against anybody else. When you are impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions without blame. If you're one of these people that have a need to dump a bunch of stuff on everybody else, you'd be better off being what? The answer is obvious. You stop. If you have the awareness that my God, my word is my wand. It's either creating life or it's full of destruction. Being impeccable with our word is the correct use of our energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. If you create today the intention to be impeccable with your word, the truth will begin to manifest through you, and it will clean all the emotional poison that exists within you. Now, this is very, very hard for people to do, because all their lives they've been doing it the exact opposite way. We've learned to lie as a habit because we don't want to upset anybody, so we don't tell the truth. We've learned to lie as a habit in our communication with others. And more importantly, we lie to ourselves. We humans are not impeccable with our word at all, for the most part. We live in a very noisy planet where a lot of people are speaking and there's not much real listening. A lot of people chained to dreams and old agreements that have been passed on to them through the generations and that they've been living for the past 20, 30, 40 years. The power of our word is completely misused every single day of our life. You have this sacred thing that comes out of your being, your heart, and your mind, and what you verbalize in language. You have this sacred thing, and we misuse it all over the place. Most of the people, most of the time, are fault finders. Wow, right? You can just participate and throw your words of criticism into something. How's that going to nurture anything? So most people are fault finders, and we use our greatest gift to find fault, to blame, to curse, to make guilty, and we use our tremendous gift destructively, more than we use it constructively. Rather than being impeccable with our word and using our word with reverence, most people are caught up in their programming. And we've been programmed since the time we came into the world. And we use our word to spread personal poison, pain. We have so much pain and anger that we project everywhere, envy and hate. And yet, this precious word you have is your most powerful gift. Most of humanity operates in what we call brokenness or separation, survival. And they use their word against each other, and they don't intend to, but this is where the world is. This is the evolution of consciousness. So when you have this teaching, you have this gift, you have such a gift, and yet I listen to you people, I watch, I see who connects. I always look for one student that will get it. It's not easy, right? Ralph Waldo Emerson, his consciousness, they said a few from every generation will understand him. Very few. Most people are creating chaos and pain, and they plan tit for tat and revenge and gossip and do all this stuff with their word. People use the word to create hate between people, between families, between groups, between nations. My God, we do this right in our country all over the place. Collectively, we misuse our words so often, and this is how we create and perpetuate the dream of separation. We perpetuate the dream of separation. Separation is not real. It's not of God. Many of you will agree that it seems like, as you think of all the things I'm talking about, it seems like the whole world is going to hell. The misuse of the word is how we pull each other down, and it's how we keep each other down. And it keeps, and even within your families and your relationships, it's how you screw up your relationships and your families and your jobs and everything else. We have such an ability, such a tremendous ability to turn it around, right? But it's a huge commitment. You've got to be, first of all, awake and aware and know that you're doing this. That's the commitment to learn to love ourselves. That's the reason Louise Hay's book sold 65 million copies. I'm always reminding myself, always, to turn off the news and think my own thoughts, asking myself, is this true? I absolutely know from this teaching that I can learn to see peace instead of anything. You have the ability to learn to see good. The first agreement is where you powerfully begin to let go of all the thoughts of sin. And you know, I go to that sin standing for self-imposed nonsense. So let's powerfully begin to let go of all that and refuse to go there. Often when we misuse our word and we project, and then we're projecting our stuff, we pull other people down, and then people will retaliate naturally. This is darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. This is the blind leading the blind. Using your word this way is a misuse of your gift, and we keep each other in fear and in doubt. We do this with our own families, friends, loved ones. You love some of these people, and they love you. And in ignorance, we think and we speak harmfully to the people we love, and then they react to us. Forgive us, Father. Forgive us, because we're not aware that we're doing this, and yet we're doing it all the time. When I tell you each week how lucky you are to have this teaching, and have found this teaching, to have found ways and methods to dismantle these dreams, all these old agreements, they keep you in hell, and they prevent you from experiencing the fullness of the now. They prevent you from having new moments without carrying around the corpses that Holmes spoke of. When I tell you each week, the best kept secret of all time is God in you. It's in everyone. When I say these things each week, it's in a fervent hope that I will reach one or two of you in the audience, or the extended audience, who will come to know that they have this power, and this power is in their word. And you can stop all of these conversations and all the agreements that you have in your particular system, your belief system. And you've been nurturing this system all your life, so please don't beat yourself up. Just acknowledge that it's there. I mean, some of you have canceled out, neutralized a lot of it, and so have I. Yet there's always more to do. Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from Spirit. Through the word you express your creative power. It is as though the word that you use manifests everything. Regardless of the language you speak, your intent manifests through the word, your dreams, what you feel, it's all manifested through your word. The word is a force, it's a power that you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby to create the events of your life. You create with it all the time. The author would suggest that the word can correct everything too, but he said the world has run amok, and that no one is really truly listening to one another. It's like it's spiraling out of control as it acquires more and more knowledge every single day. Very few people, virtually no one, is impeccable with their word. It's impossible to live up to all that we have agreed to since birth. Humankind is buzzing around, talking and talking, he would suggest, and he said it's mostly garbage. People are put against people all over the place, and lies are everywhere told. People are trying to survive, and they want to be constantly entertained, and they live in an almost constant drama, the drama of action and reaction. And so many people carry so much history or life agreements. His story, your story. You can't see the present if you keep carrying that stuff into each new moment. You can't have a new moment with a person. You can't. It's just you're holding on to those old agreements that you've acquired since you were a little girl or a little boy. Your word is as though you are casting a spell, the author said. I realized with this book, reminding myself of it, I reminded myself of this book, and of course, in Miracles and Attitudinal Healing and the Science of Mind, and Louise say, I realized how blessed and how completely fortunate I am to be able to plug in all these years and to keep reminding myself. And I can see these connections, and I can see how beautiful this is. And I realize how fortunate anyone is who really understands and practices the teaching. There are really so few who practice it. I understand why people don't flock to religious science centers or places like this, because this is tough, because this is asking you to take responsibility for your life and what comes out of your mouth and what you think. And when I ask you Thursday, what's it like being you, I'm really asking, you God that you are, that has the ability to create, what are you creating with your thoughts this week? I learned most of this over 40 years ago when I started to understand Emerson. I'm sure hundreds of thousands of people by now, if not millions, have read Emerson. But reading Emerson and understanding the consciousness that was in Emerson are two different things. And all of that is available to any of us right now who really want it. People, when they read books like The Four Agreements or Emerson or any of these great books, miss the very most important things. I mean, you can read it like you're a student, just buzz through it, right? But to take this stuff into your heart and understand that you have this kind of power to create and to destroy, the first agreement becomes a very big step. To be impeccable without sin, to speak no evil, to stop all of that stuff, to wake up and live from that place, to stay awake. Boy, you really have to call here every day, commune with the great thoughts, really keeping on working on yourself, because there's so much about us that react. How the heck do you stay awake when you have all this programming and all these agreements that so work against us being free? Free in this beautiful now. I was thinking about this all through the weekend. It's darn near impossible. Just because you can read some of these books doesn't mean that you embrace or fully understand these ideas, and it certainly doesn't mean that you're practicing them. So the forecast, I thought, was kind of grim. I don't doubt that there's some truth to what the author is saying. I'm grateful that I've been able to spend a couple days with this material again. It really makes me feel, again, fortunate for anybody. Myself, I was feeling fortunate myself personally. I've spent most of my life contemplating a lot of these ideas, that I have the power to constructively heal. Our teaching is one, though, of self-responsibility. Emerson taught it, Barker taught it, Louise taught it, and I'm teaching it. And with the first agreement, here it is again. We are responsible to use our word in an impeccable way, to speak when you have something positive to say, to speak when you know you are connected, to speak to do no harm. The author calls misuse of our power black magic. And that's not a term that we use here, but I understand what he's saying. To the extent that anybody takes what you say, let's say you're telling someone that they're not too smart, or you criticize somebody, you're not good enough, or you're doing a bad job, or whatever it is, you're stupid. To the extent that any of us takes any of that in, it's like someone has cast a spell. And to the extent that you accept it, you've accepted their, what he calls black magic. Anyway, I really appreciated how powerfully he presented all these ideas. And I get it to a much deeper degree than ever before. I was thinking, wow, what a tall order. He's asking us to do much more. And I thought for a moment, God, if everybody's talking garbage and nobody's listening, if this is the state of the world, I was thinking maybe we would all be better off if we lived our lives as monks. We might have a better shot at creating the life that we want and not screw anyone else up or screw ourselves up further, because we talk so much garbage. This would be our author. So we use our power against ourselves more often than not. And when we're doing that, we're creating a life that works against us. The consciousness of the planet is a collective dream, and it's not one of connection at the moment. Most people are not living consciously in the ways that Ernest Holmes describes as being possible. Definitely not with the consciousness that Emerson spoke of. Definitely not living the affirmative life that Ernest Holmes said is possible when he said, find me one person who's so redeemed from the bondage of self So we're not there yet. We have a long way to go. The book is astonishing to me. It reminds me of everything I've come to know over the past 4 or 5 decades. People are forever and ever making agreements against their highest nature. And the universe, whose will is for us, the universe is here and its will for us is to unfold and evolve in greater freedom. So once again, in the 4 agreements, you'll come to terms with the fact that you've been given great gifts and they're hidden from you. You have the ability with your consciousness and your world to create an absolutely outstanding life, a miraculous life. Some of you might recall Florence Scovel Shinn, who said, your word is your wand, but your word is really more like a sword that cuts both ways, as I said before. Unless you're really high-minded and impeccable, unless you're really a real lifter, right? Because as your word creates, so will it destroy if you're just randomly expressing yourself without thinking. Ernest Holmes spoke of it when he said that life is always responding to us and our word. Life always responds to our consciousness, nothing more, nothing less. I thought I'd do an overview of the entire book because I've studied it for so many times and places, but that would not do the material any kind of justice. And I don't know if it could be condensed, or if I can condense my 25 years experience with it, or whatever it's been, into 25 minutes. All of these authors are essentially saying the same thing. You can step out of race consciousness and level up. It requires a huge amount of willingness and real dedication. It requires somebody that you're going to read, you're going to listen to different types of things as you turn on YouTube or your television, you're going to plug into classes, because all of this stuff that he's talking about, these agreements in us that are working against us, are in every one of us. You absolutely can level up. You can change your life. You can heal your life. We speak of this every single week. I don't know who's listening, like the song says. All the greats speak of the possibility, though, but the world would require each of us to understand that we have power, and it's sacred power, and we're using it irresponsibly. We have consciousness that can do great things. Every Thursday night, we give you an opportunity to take a pause and reflect on your word. What's it been like being you this week? There's an opportunity each week, and everything we do here is for people to reflect on the power that they have. According to the 4 agreements, the author says we have our word, and it's magic, and it creates. But we're not impeccable with our word, and not by a long shot. So he would want you to understand that your voice and your word are a solemn gift. Whatever comes out of your mouth, your heart, and your mind is imbued with power. And so much of life is broken, disconnected, separated, based upon all these things. So this is our great gift. I'm going to move now into the next section, which he says, the second agreement, don't take anything personally. The next 3 agreements are really born from the first. If I know how often I say, don't personalize it, don't take anything personally. I don't know where I got that from, but I've been saying it for years. It's probably from the 4 agreements. Don't take anything personally. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. If someone says something that's hurtful and you take it personally because you aren't centered or strong, if you agree, you're taking personally if you agree with what is said. It's like poison that goes through you, and then you're trapped into this hellish place. Here's a thought. Release the need to be offended, and release the need to defend yourself, or release the need to create conflict or have a reaction. You don't need to defend your beliefs. We want to get to a place where we're not overly concerned with what people think about us one way or another. People will praise you, and then they will shame you. You know what you are, and you don't need to be praised or condemned. Whatever a person is or thinks is really, whatever a person says or thinks is really none of my concern or your concern. When people are singing injustices of the world and the flaws of others, it's nothing personal. They're always dealing with themselves, so don't take any of it personally. Other people are going to have their opinions according to their belief system. So nothing that they say or think about you is terribly important. It's really about them that they're speaking. The way you see or render opinions is always according to the agreements that you've had all through your life. Okay? Your point of view is something personal to you. It's no one's truth but your own. When you're getting upset with someone, you are always dealing with yourself. So keep that in mind when you're projecting things all over the place. If you're upset, I usually say I could see peace instead of this. You might start to think that you're upset with the other person, but really what it is you are afraid and you're dealing with your own fear. If you're coming from connection and you're being impeccable, there's no way you will get upset with anyone. If you're not afraid, you won't be jealous. If you're connected with Source in your words, there's no place for any of those emotions. If you can make this second agreement a habit, you will find that nothing can put you back into a hellish state of consciousness. There's a huge amount of freedom that comes to you when you're taking nothing personally. You become immune. See, religious scientists won't, people, sticks and stones can break my bones, but names will never hurt me. If you really know who you are and you're practicing the teaching, you become immune to what Don Miguel talks about, black magic. And no spell can affect you because people can say whatever they want and it doesn't touch you because you know it's not true. The whole world can gossip about you, and if you don't take it personally, you are immune. You can see how important this is. Take nothing personally will help you to break many habits and routines that trap you, because people are reacting all over the place to everything and taking lots of stuff personally. So take nothing personally. You won't get trapped, and you bring yourself to places and cause needless suffering. And by practicing the second agreement, you begin to break dozens of tiny, smaller agreements that cause you to suffer. And if you practice the first two agreements, you'll break 75% of the smaller, tiny agreements that you have been trapped in throughout your life. Write this agreement on paper. I will take nothing personally. Put it on your refrigerator. Do it until you can have it be a part of your DNA. And I know it operates within me like big time. I don't take it this personally. I don't take that personally. The methode in the Toltec tradition is the reason humans hardly know what they want or when they want it. They don't agree with themselves because there's parts of their mind that want one thing and parts of their mind that want another thing. They want the opposite of things sometimes. Some part of the mind is like this. So let's not take anything personally. That's the note on that agreement. The next one is very short but important. Stop making assumptions. The third agreement is don't assume. We have a tendency to make assumptions about everything. Part of that reason is we go into new moments we've already decided. We're full of prejudice in that sense. It'd be very difficult. Jackson is here. I'm going to not have a new moment with Tony because I've already got this whole thing going. We have all these assumptions, right? We have a tendency to make assumptions about everything and everyone. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are true. We could swear they're real. We make assumptions about what others are doing, what they're thinking, and we take so much personally. And then we blame people and react by sending emotional poison out of us through our thoughts and thinking. That is why whenever people make assumptions, they're asking for problems. We make assumptions, we misunderstand, we take things personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. Most of the sadness and drama of the world and the sadness that you personally have had came from your assumptions and taking things personally. Take a moment to consider the truth of this statement. The whole world, or the whole warlike nature that goes on between human beings, is about people making assumptions of what other people are doing and taking things personally. I was involved in a really great spiritual transformational group in the 90s. Such a gifted person. Her name was Shelley. And every single week she would ask this one question, check it out. She would say, check it out, check it out. And she would say it because we're always making assumptions about everything. And when you go around the room and she'll ask one person, would you please say back what you just said? And, ask people to repeat what they thought they just heard. Mostly everybody gets everything wrong because everybody's making assumptions. It just shows that people are not really listening. So this agreement asks you to stop making assumptions and start to check it out. We have the tendency to make assumptions, again, about everything. The problem with assumptions is that we believe that they're true. We could swear they're real, and then we get to blame everybody and react, sending out emotional poison to the world. All the sadness and the drama that you have lived in your life has been rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally and getting most of it wrong. So take a moment to consider the truth of that statement. The whole control dramas between humans is usually about making assumptions and taking things personally. People live in hellish states because they do this. If other people tell us something, we'll make assumptions, and if they don't tell us something, we'll still make assumptions to fulfill our need to know and replace the need to communicate. So instead of being a person who's communicating with your boyfriend or in your office through your text and not looking at anybody eye to eye, start connecting, start asking questions, start cleaning things up. If you hear something that you don't understand, rather than making an assumption about what it means and believing your assumption, check it out. Stop, check it out. We make all kinds of assumptions because we don't have the courage to ask the question. I mean, my God, maybe they'll reject you if you ask the question. I was in the office the other day, and I was talking to somebody in the office, and, well, I'm going to tell you something in the future. And I felt like saying, why the hell don't you tell me now? What's with that, right? And then I'll make an assumption about the remark. And see, and everybody's making assumptions. And see, this is how it goes. So check it out. We make all sorts of assumptions because we don't have the courage to ask questions. You'll pay a big price for that. We make all sorts of assumptions. The answer to that one is to keep going for clarification and keep asking questions. After many repetitions of these agreements, if you keep asking questions, you keep going for clarification, you'll start to clear things up. A pure magician, that would be a science of mind practitioner, right? A pure magician uses the word for creation. We make all sorts of assumptions because we don't have the courage to ask questions. Start asking questions. The fourth agreement, always do your best in everything you can. It's like I knew I had to put this whole talk together, and I would like to spend like 6 weeks with this particular book. But I thought, oh, what the hell? I'm going to do my best. Always do your best. There's just one more agreement, and that's it. Always do your best. Under any set of circumstances, always do your best, no more, no less. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to another. Everything in life is alive, and you're alive, and your best might not be the same today as it was what it was 5 years ago, and your best may be different next week. So your best will be something, you're going to go for quality, and as best you can at any given day you're in. Your best will depend on whether you're feeling wonderful and happy, connected, upset. In your everyday moods, your best can change from one moment to another, from 1 hour to the next. Your best will also change over time. As you build the habit of the 4 new agreements, as you start utilizing these, your best will become better than it used to be. So I like that. That explains that life is truly going forward by means of everybody. Regardless of the quality, keep doing your best. No more and no less than your best. When you do your best, you learn to accept yourself and love yourself. You need to be focused, though, because you want to learn from your mistakes. Learning from your mistakes means that you need to practice. Everybody in this center knows that our success is dependent upon us practicing. And then we'll look for the results of our practice. This is what we do on Sunday when we talk about the good news. We talk about what our demonstrations have been. Doing your best really doesn't feel like work because you enjoy being engaged in doing your best. When you know you're doing your best, you enjoy the action and activity. You do your best because you want to, not because you have to, not because you're trying to please anyone. It's just because you're engaged in your process of life. If you take action because you're forced to by somebody, then there's no way you're going to be doing your best. Then it's better not to do it at all. Do your best because doing your best will make you happy. When you're doing your best just for the pleasure of doing it, you're taking action because you enjoy the action. Action is about living fully. Inaction is the way that we deny life. Inaction is sitting in front of the television or your computer and just wasting time because you're afraid to be alive and to take the risk of expressing who you are. We really need to use every bit of our power to succeed in keeping these agreements. It's really difficult to change, and I'm hoping that someone somewhere in one of these mediums today really connects with some of this, and I hope some of you go buy the book and realize, how powerful your word is. And really, I know that some of you in the teaching can understand that when we tell you that there's power that you can use and, to level up and, you have this tremendous power to create. But I'm completely convinced that most people have no clue how destructive they use their power, how destructively. So this book will really help you. I'm thinking, maybe we should be monks. It's just like, maybe we need to learn to be quiet and think before we engage. It's very difficult for people to change. You've got a lifetime of agreements that need to be broken. A lifetime of, just for today, I will be impeccable with my word. I will be a lifter. I will not complain about people. I won't take anything personally. I won't make any assumptions about anybody. I'm going to do my best. And if you break agreement, begin again today. It's never too late to start your day over. It might be difficult at first to do these agreements, but each day will become easier and easier until someday you will discover that you are ruling your life with these 4 agreements. And you will be surprised at the way your life has been transformed. Don't be concerned about the future ever. Keep your attention on today. Stay in the present moment. Just live this day with integrity and be impeccable with the power that you possess. And so ends the lesson. That's either a 6 or 9 week course. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. This is the time for us to share our demonstrations and our good news.